The forgotten truths of the wisest minds in history. What if everything you ran from, everything you tried to forget, every scar, every night of silence, every illness, every betrayal, what if it was never meant to destroy you? What if it was trying to reveal something far more ancient, far more sacred? We live in a world obsessed with healing, and yet the wisest men in history did not run from suffering. They sat with it, listened to it, became it. This is their story. Epictetus, the slave who owned himself, he had nothing. No land, no freedom, no money, no body he could call his own. He was born a slave, beaten, humiliated, silenced. And yet, Epictetus became one of the freest minds in human history. He once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." He walked with a limp, the result of a broken leg. Some say his master twisted it as punishment. But he never spoke of revenge. He taught his students that suffering was a kind of mirror, a test, a sharpening stone for the soul. You are not your body, you are not your possessions, you are not even your pain. You are your response. He taught them that true power comes not from avoiding hardship, but from choosing how you carry it. You, sitting there now with the weight of decades behind you, you've lost people, you've buried dreams, your hands may tremble, your back may ache, but you still choose. And that choice is freedom. Buddha, the prince who chose to see Siddhartha, was born into perfection. Gardens, luxury, pleasure, a world without sickness or death, or so they told him. But one day, he saw an old man, then a sick man, then a corpse, and he asked, "Is this what I've been protected from?" That day, he walked away from the palace, gave up everything, even his name, and sat under a tree till he saw the truth. Life is suffering, he said, but suffering is the beginning of awakening. He didn't escape it, he entered it fully. He fasted until his bones showed. He meditated until his breath slowed to nothing. And in that silence, he saw suffering is caused by desire, by the craving for things to be different than they are. We suffer because we cling to youth, to health, to people, to hope. But when you stop clinging, when you let go, you are free. For a generation watching their bodies age, their loved ones fade, Buddha offers a gift, not escape, but peace. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who was always alone. Imagine ruling the greatest empire on earth. Now imagine losing 7 of your 8 children. Imagine watching your wife die. Imagine fighting a plague that kills 5 million people and still being expected to smile. That was Marcus Aurelius. A stoic, a philosopher, an emperor. At night, he wrote in his diary, not for the world, but for himself. He could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. He didn't believe in avoiding pain. He believed in becoming worthy of it. If it is endurable, endure it. If it is unendurable, stop complaining. Your destruction will mean its end as well. To him, suffering was not unfair. It was natural. Fire tests the metal. Life tests the soul. And the question isn't, why is this happening to me? It is, what will I do with it? To those who've outlived their parents, their friends, even their children, Marcus offers not comfort, but dignity. Ramakrishna, the mystic who embraced his pain, he spoke with the voice of a child. He laughed without warning. He wept in prayer. He fainted at the name of God. Ramakrishna was not a philosopher in the Western sense. He was a storm of spirit. Born into poverty in 19th century India, he became a temple priest. But he did not offer rote prayers. He lived them. Every day, he sought communion with Kali, the Divine Mother. And when she would not appear, he would weep, beg, threaten to kill himself from longing. That's not devotion, that's surrender. He fasted until his skin clung to bone. He went into trance for hours, days. Sometimes he could not eat or speak or walk without help. And when cancer came for his throat, and speaking meant agony, his disciples begged him to pray it away. He refused. Why ask for this pain to go away? It too is God. He welcomed the disease, spoke through blood, gave blessings through agony, because to him there was no separation between pleasure and pain. Everything was divine. To the old man aching in his bed, to the widow alone in her prayers, Ramakrishna whispers, "This suffering is not punishment, but is a door. Walk through it, and you will find the sacred." Friedrich Nietzsche, the madman who saw too much. He was not a man made for this world. Thin, sickly, solitary, he walked alone in the Alps, wrote alone in his room, suffered alone in his soul. Nietzsche lived in pain, real, physical torment. Migraines that blinded him, a stomach illness that left him bedridden. And yet he wrote with fire. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. He believed that pain was not the enemy. Comfort was, because comfort makes you soft. Pain, if you let it, makes you sharp. He saw through the illusions of society, religion, morality, even truth, he declared. God is dead. Not because he hated God, but because the world had stopped seeking real meaning and replaced it with obedience. Nietzsche suffered more than most. He died alone, insane. But before madness swallowed him, he gave us one of the most dangerous ideas in history. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. And perhaps more haunting, one must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. He believed you were not here to be comfortable.
You were here to suffer, to struggle, and to rise from it.
Burning, to the man who questions if his pain has meaning. To the woman who fears her loneliness is the end. Nietzsche offers no comfort, but he offers truth. Your pain is not meaningless. It is your forge. Let it shape you. Let it burn off everything false. Let it make you real. Seneca, the wealthy man who welcomed death, yet everything. Wealth, status, power. Seneca was the tutor of Emperor Nero. He lived in marble halls. He dined with kings. And yet, he wrote more about death than luxury. He knew that fortune was a cruel friend, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. He believed suffering was the teacher that fortune could never be. Seneca lost his only son. He watched his friends executed by the very emperor he had once mentored, and finally, when Nero ordered him to die, Seneca did not beg, did not flee. He opened his veins in a warm bath, calm, composed, teaching to the end. He spoke to his wife as he bled. Death is not an evil. It is simply the last act of nature. To Seneca, life was never about how long you lived, but how. You could live a short life beautifully, or a long one in fear. He told the old and the sick, why fear death? Every night you fall asleep, and never panic. Death is simply a longer sleep in a world terrified of endings. Seneca smiled at the end. Yes. To those nearing their own, he says, this is not the end of you. It is the final lesson. Die with grace. Die with open eyes. And know you lived bravely. Kahlil Gibran, the poet of sacred pain. He was not a philosopher in robes. He was a poet, soft-spoken, soulful, and burning. Kahlil Gibran was born in Lebanon, raised in poverty, and exiled to America. He carried the ache of two worlds inside him. He knew suffering from the inside out. The death of his brother, the death of his sister, the death of his mother, all within a few years. He didn't harden. He turned to ink. Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. He saw pain not as something to be solved, but as something to be cherished. He believed that grief was sacred, that longing was holy, that every heartache widened your soul. The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. Gibran's suffering made him tender, brave, radiant. He wrote of lovers separated, of children lost, of aging parents, of lonely hearts that still hoped. He wrote of you. And in his quiet words he reminded the world, out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. The most massive characters are seared with scars. To the man who mourns in silence, to the woman who carries an old grief like a stone in her chest, Gibran says, don't run from it. Let it make you beautiful. Let it make you kind. And when they ask you why you still smile, tell them, because I have suffered, and I still choose to love. Why the wise embraced pain, they did not suffer less than you. They wept, they grieved, they bled, they lost, and still did not run. because they knew something we'd forgotten. Pain is not the enemy. It's a message, a mirror, a guide. The wise did not ask to suffer, but when it came, they let it shape them. Not into victims, but into warriors. Not into cynics, but into poets. Not into shells, but into souls. They embraced suffering not because they were strong, but because they wanted to become strong, because they knew. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi, you too have suffered. Maybe in silence, maybe in chaos, maybe across decades. But if you are still here, breathing, watching, listening, then you have survived. And that means you are not weak, you are becoming. You are part of a lineage of souls who turned agony into wisdom, grief into grace, pain into power. So the next time suffering visits you, don't fight it, don't flee. Ask it what it came to teach you, and listen, because somewhere inside that darkness is the truth of who you really are. Let it shape you, let it humble you, let it free you.